I'm sure many of you by now have heard the verdict with regards to the Derek Chauvin trial, of which he was found guilty of all three counts of murder. When I look online, I see you're all rejoicing. Many of you are calling it karma. Many of you are calling it justice. Many of you are calling it justice for George Floyd. But in my opinion, there will never be justice for George Floyd because George Floyd was murdered. So, you know, George Floyd's life is no more. But Chauvin's life, to an extent, will go on. Yes, he may be sentenced, but his family, his offspring, will no doubt be financially secure. Why? Because there'll be donations from not only white firing groups, but far right wing groups from overseas, possibly away from the US. Politicians may donate that are far right, and more importantly, there may be donations from the police. So the money he attains from these groups will simply be to support his family and offspring for maybe years, decades to come. Now, one thing of interest to me has been the response, not from black people, but from non-black people. Non-black people the world over. Because after the televised death of George Floyd, the response went global. Not only in the US, not only in the UK, but all throughout Europe, Holland, Netherlands, Germany, Italy. You had vigils and memorials as far as Australia. You know, a friend of mine is an admin for a Facebook page. I should really give the name of the page, but I'll do that another time maybe. But yes, and I recall looking on there at the time, and as far as I was concerned, there was there was a response as far out as India. So that went global. And I think in many cases the response from non-black people to the sad murder of George Floyd in a perverse way has a lot to do with a film. And this film is called Green Mile. Now, this is where we get into the dynamics of the subconscious mind, as well as reality. Let me explain what I mean. With the film Green Mile, you have a black man. Is it the actor Michael Duncan Clark, who sadly himself passed away a few years ago? What you basically have, again, in that film, is the submissive, black, dark, muscular, built black man in a position of submission. He's been chastised. He's been socially castrated in the film and how it appears to be. So in this castration, this submission, this form of submission, the black man, as we are seeing now later on, but in a different way in the hip hop world, with this trend of brothers in dresses, again, the black masculinity has been confined. So what happens now is basically, again, we have to look at the concept of threat. And as many of us know, the black man is seen as a threat. But here, we can compare the two and produce a dichotomy. One with Green Mile and the other with George Floyd. Because again, similarly, George Floyd, as I've said, black man, built, dark, muscular. He's in a position of submission when Chauvin had his foot on his neck. So basically, what we have here is the continual theme of submission, and the black man being subdued, and his masculinity being restrained. It's as simple as that. So non-black people that saw the film Green Mile, the penny dropped, it clicked. Because here, George Floyd became that reality. Does this point make sense? The fiction was the film, but the hit home was the reality. And that's what garnered, which may have, well, in a way, triggered that global response, which rippled like a domino effect across the globe. We had protests, the emergence of Black Lives Matter, and so forth, which is now history. So again, moving on, the Chauvin verdict, we'll see the outcome in terms of how long he gets. But the bottom line is, this thing will continue. The theme of your young black youths, men, women. Let's not forget Sandra Bland. These kind of things will continue. And forgive, forget, being passive, being restrained, subdued, submission, turning a blind eye. Oh, it won't happen to me. No. Like you, I await his sentencing. And hopefully we'll see, hopefully, yes. Yes, hopefully we'll see him go down for a very long time.